Welcome into the Dirty Pocket. Here we are, zooming in. Welcome in for another round, this time in the NFL playoffs. I am joined by the scout, Mr. Daniel Kelly. How are you tonight, my friend?
Hey, I'm doing well, Stacy. Thank you for asking. Just working on football around the clock. I don't know what day of the week it is. All I know is it's draft season is upon us. And I tell you what, I'm starting to understand why NFL teams have scouting staffs of 13, 14, 15 people in the college scouting department, because that's how many people you need to cover all this. And I'm just a one-man show here looking at all this film. And wow, I love it. It's a labor of love, but there's more work than there is time, literally. I mean, from the moment I wake up to the moment I close my eyes, I'm doing something with this, with football, with the draft season, which I love.
You got to be exhausted, man. I'm exhausted. And we still got the NFC AFC Championship to go and the Super Bowl. So you are way ahead of the game. I'm already seeing mock drafts from the other guys, the usual suspects, Daniel Jeremiah and all these other folks on NFL Network and beyond. So the mock draft season is here. Here we go. I'm sure that you are buried. But we got to talk about the NFL this week. Because it is not short of any storylines. And let me tell you, some big storylines. Are you surprised by who made it out of this last weekend of playoff games? Did anybody shock you?
No.
You felt like that was the right group.
Well, I thought the Giants were going to pull off the upset.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll say that. And I also thought the Jaguars would upset the Chiefs. So I'm not going to sit here and say that I picked them all right and checked all the boxes. I've been saying for weeks on this show that Brock Purdy is going to win the Super Bowl, and here he is in the NFC Championship game. I wrote an article on FirstRoundMock.com on December 5th as the first and only person in America that predicted Brock Purdy being the Super Bowl champion, and that's playing out right in front of our eyes. And so I'm all set there. Like the old saying goes, if you have a quarterback, you have a chance, like my NFL mentor taught me. And we can see that the teams that are remaining have a quarterback.
Yeah, it's really something. I got to tell you, this Brock Purdy thing, just watching him, he was light years better than Dak Prescott. Like, it's just really something. When you find a quarterback, you got to lock him in, and you got to just clear the deck. It's incredible watching this kid. He looks like, that's no big deal. He just looks like the game isn't too big. He's making plays. He's not perfect. But my God, folks, he's like 7 games into his NFL career.
Now, when you say perfect, did you mean perfect or did you mean perfect?
I knew that was coming. Good Lord. Okay. Before we do that, before the cheese is gone, let's discuss our beverage of choice this week really quickly so we can jump into our rapid fire round.
Absolutely. Let me grab this here.
Okay. Oh,
whoa.
Popping the top.
There we go.
All right.
What do we got today? We got
all right, Clixer. Very nice to see you.
What's up?
Okay.
We got Iron Man or Iron Beer soft drink since 1917. Now, you probably never heard of this, but since 1917, okay?
Okay.
Look at that.
Okay.
Look at that. Okay.
Why does it go from Iron Beer to soft drink in the same logo? That's throwing me quicker.
So let's do a little what do you got?
Same old thing, baby. Zevia.
You're really trying for a sponsorship from Zevia.
Where's the love?
You really are. I tell you what. Let me do my little spot. Right.
Here we go. Oh boy.
City Hall. Hold on.
Oh boy.
Dog pound's going wild for those of us who have to remember the dog pound.
Dog pound.
I'm not talking about Cleveland. Okay. Here we go. Okay. When the game's on the line and you need an Iron Man in the game, it's not Micah Parsons. It's Iron Beer soft drink.
No.
This message furnished by the National Football League.
Oh, Dallas Cowboy fans. I'm sure we're going to start with Micah Parsons, so let's just start there and take a sip off whatever beverage you may have. That includes you too, Clixer.
That's a lot sweeter than anything Micah Parsons produced on the field in the playoffs. Ooh, that's good.
Okay, so let's talk about the Dallas Cowboys and Micah Parsons. Just start rapid fire, 30-minute dirty pocket. Oh, man. Okay, listen, he had one arm bar type throwdown of that McGlinchey, the left tackle, that was quite impressive. I think that you probably saw that clip. But are you here to tell us that he basically checked out in the playoffs? First it was the Buccaneers and then against the 49ers?
Well, I'm not here to tell the story. I'm here to tell the stats to tell the story. Okay.
Oh, no.
Turn up your volume, Parsons family.
Oh no.
Okay. Micah Parsons. I mean, because his dad is follows me on Twitter. Okay.
We've noticed.
I know. One tackle. Let's just pause for stations to identify themselves. One tackle. When the season's on the line, one tackle, 3 assists, and 0. Let's see, there's 0 sacks. Okay.
Oh boy.
0 sacks. Now, okay, when the season's on the line, you need your big timers to step up and make the plays. And Micah Parsons isn't doing it. Not this year, folks, and not last year. 2022, last year against the 49ers. 3 tackles, 6 assists. Big time pass rusher, where are you? 0 sacks again, okay? So here's the moral of the story. When the season's on the line, don't ever expect number 11 to get to the quarterback, okay?
Wow, I got to tell you. Now, listen, we've said plenty of times on this show, I like Micah Parsons better than you do. I do think he's a good player. I really do. Do I think he's the player the media's pumped him up to be? No, not at all.
Let me say something.
I'm kind of stunned that everybody, like, he's the greatest defensive player.
Oh, yeah,
I don't think that. I think he's a very good player.
Maybe if you're 5-6 years old, you think that, okay?
He's a pass rush specialist. That's what he is.
Here's the thing, okay? Whoever thinks this guy's like Lawrence Taylor has never seen Lawrence Taylor play, okay? Okay, Micah Parsons couldn't hold Lawrence Taylor's cup of Gatorade, okay? And so, but I'm just saying. And the people on social media want to come at me and tell me how great Micah Parsons is. Listen, the problem with the Dallas Cowboys is if they think that's great, that's why they haven't won a Super Bowl in decades. Because when it's on the line, and then check this out, right? Then after the game's over, okay, here we go again. Hand puppet city. Micah Parsons running his mouth again with Deebo Samuel online, right? Going at Deebo, saying, hey, what's up, fam? What'd you do today? That type of thing. Listen, I'll say this. Micah Parsons made more noise on social media than he did on the field against the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, I think he's a really good player. I don't think he had a great game. He has a couple of good plays that were really good.
When it's on the line, you need your players to step up. And
can't disagree.
You know what? Listen to this. My wife, Samantha, right? She's a Cowboys fan. She's watching the game on, this past weekend, right? She asked me, she goes, did Micah Parsons play today?
From a Cowboys fan.
She didn't even notice him on the field.
She's better than other Cowboys fans. If you've been watching social media, there's a few of them that put their fists through flat screen TVs. And look, Micah Parsons is a good player. Do I think he's the player the media's built? I don't. I'd take TJ Watt over him. Mm-hmm. I mean, I just don't get all the craziness. To your point, we've been in the playoffs and we haven't had a signature moment or even a signature game. So, and here's the Cowboys. I mean, Jerry Jones looked like a broken man. He's got to realize something is dysfunctional and broken about that franchise.
Well, here's the problem with the Dallas Cowboys, okay? And I've been saying this for years, and I'll continue to say it until I lose my voice, okay? Or until they win, whichever comes first. Okay, here's the problem with the Dallas Cowboys. It is ever since Jimmy Johnson left the building, it's never been the same. This is a team with star power, okay, that can't pull it together. There's no cohesion on this football team. So when it comes time to play like a team, they fold like a tent. They can't do it in the playoffs because the factor that glued them together, the Jimmy Johnson factor, the rah-rah in the locker room and the guy who kind of molded that locker room together doesn't exist anymore. So now we're just left with like a seashell right on the beach. We're just left with this shell, and they can't pull it together. There's no cohesion on that football team. And listen, I've been hearing rumblings online about, the team turning against Dak Prescott and Dak taking heat and all this kind of stuff. Listen, Cooper Rush is not the answer for the Dallas Cowboys, okay, long term. I can say that for a fact, Okay. Yeah, he had a couple good games, but he's not the answer long term. Don't go after Dak Prescott, who is the best player on this football team, is the unequivocal leader of this football team, is the captain of this football team on his jersey or not. It doesn't matter. This guy is the heart and soul of the Dallas Cowboys, Dak Prescott. Okay. If anybody should be attacked in the Dallas Cowboys, let it be number 11.
What? Oh, wow. Listen, Dak Prescott seems like a fantastic guy as a
He is
person.
an incredible guy. Yeah, he
Yeah,
is. He's a
there's
team player.
nothing.
I mean, he's
Yeah,
come
what a
back from those injuries and stuff. I mean,
Come on, he's not even a top 10 quarterback. Come on.
No, I said for the Dallas Cowboys.
For the Dallas Cowboys, right. But I just want to go on record. Look, great guy. I think he's almost overachieved, but, MTO is in the house.
Hey! MTO, what's up?
Dak Prescott's, yeah. I don't think the Cowboys go anywhere with him. And look, Zeke Elliott, as far as I'm concerned, is about to fade into nowhere land. He is completely, him and Todd Gurley almost at the same time. Whoosh, just were gone. Todd because of an injury, but Zeke Elliott doesn't even look like the same player.
No,
Yeah.
he's not.
Okay.
Don't be surprised if the Cowboys find a way to take Bijan Robinson or Jahmyr Gibbs, one of those two backs in the draft. I'm not saying one way or another.
Yeah.
I have second round grades on both those guys. But yeah, to your point, not only that, but Tony Pollard's a free agent too, so things could get very interesting in Dallas.
I think they're going to lose the defensive coordinator as well. I think he's going to get a head coaching job somewhere. So anyway, we're going to get to the Jets. But before we do get to the Jets, we got to take a quick pit stop in San Francisco. Let's try to keep this brief and rapid fire. Dan Quinn, correct, Clixer. Dan Quinn, I think he'll get a job somewhere. That'll hurt the Cowboys. I think he was the secret sauce, not Mike McCarthy. With that said,
you mean High School Harry? You mean High School Harry, right? The guy from on Hard Knocks? High School Harry?
That's
McCarthy.
There's just nothing I like about the Cowboys. It's a whole other story. The San Francisco 49ers, we got to talk about the quarterback room, one of your favorite subjects. Brock Purdy, one of the top stories of the year. If he manages to win the Super Bowl, as you predict, good night. Good night. San Francisco's found themselves a franchise quarterback. What does that mean? Does Garoppolo come back? And Barstool Sports even posted yesterday that the Niners are already fielding calls for Trey Lance. I mean, that was a brief cameo to start the season. Gone. What's going to happen with Garoppolo?
I say Garoppolo comes back with the 49ers. I'm going to go ahead and have some groundbreaking take here on Jimmy G. Okay. I think he'll come back to the 49ers. And I think that this is going to give the 49ers that 1-2 punch, that Montana young punch they used to have, again, with Purdy and Garoppolo. And I think that's the way this thing's going to go forward. I think he's a tremendous value to the 49ers organization. I think Garoppolo really likes the 49ers. I think there's a great chemistry between him and Shanahan. And I think that him and Purdy get along well, too. And that's going to be the quarterbacks, room 1-2. It's going to be Purdy and Garoppolo going forward with the 49ers.
Good grief. What a bizarre career at that point could Jimmy Garoppolo will have had. What a strange situation that is. MTO with the prediction of the century here with Trey Lance going to Tennessee. And wow, would that be something? Malik Willis will be backing up Trey Lance. I don't like that decision across the board. I don't know. Tennessee's another one of those teams. You feel like their window was kind of cracked open. Now it is bam, slam shut, in my opinion. Derrick Henry's getting older. How much he was injured this year? But Trey Lance, is Trey Lance going to be one of these guys that we barely remember? There's been other guys like this in history. They get overdrafted, they're brought in, and then they just kind of fade into obscurity. And you're just left thinking, what just happened? The Niners gave up half a century's worth of draft capital to come up and get this guy. Do they cut bait? You really think Trey Lance is gone?
I do. And if they would have listened to me pre-draft, I had an undraftable free agent grade documented online on Trey Lance. It's their mistake, their blunder for spending that much kind of draft capital on Trey Lance. looked like a poor man's Donovan McNabb at best, a practice squad type of player at NDSU on tape. I've been saying this since before he was drafted. I will say this: Kyle Shanahan's a genius, and here's why. Okay, is that not only has he gotten out from underneath this thing, with Jimmy G's help and now Brock Purdy, but now the 49ers have gone ahead and signed off on Ran Carthon. You remember Mo Carthon, the Giants running back? This is his son, right? This is his son. I work with him with the Jets, with Maurice Carthon. Ran Carthon, they signed off on Carthon going over to be the GM of the Titans because this is the exit strategy for Trey Lance. I agree with you, MTO. I think that this could be where he lands. It's either going to be this or like the story I broke on SI Jets. It could be a Zach Wilson for Trey Lance swap, a type of trade, basically, because let's remember Kyle Shanahan's old friend, right? Robert Saleh, right? The old defensive coordinator of the 49ers is now with the Jets. This is how business gets done in the National Football League. Friendships, handshake deals, and Lance is going to shake into one of these areas, either with Tennessee or with the New York Jets, which would solve a problem for both organizations, by the way, the Jets, because Zach Wilson's become a headache in that locker room from everything that he's saying, that he's going to make it just hell for a new veteran quarterback when he comes in their practice every day. And then, and Lance gets a new fresh start too. So I could see something like that. Am I endorsing it? Heck no. I said both would be surefire bust before the card was ever sent in 2021. Could it happen? That's how deals are done in the NFL.
Yeah, they're very interesting. Okay, well, we're going to watch this. I'll tell you what. I hope Tennessee gives them
Good point, MTO. If he's blocking me on Twitter, how's Trey Lance ever going to handle New York?
Yeah, he won't.
He won't.
I think that this poor kid's probably was in over his head. And
it's really unfair.
Tennessee,
it's really unfair.
It's really unfair. It's not like he's a bad person.
Because his draft value was an undraftable free agent. He's a practice squad kid. If you would have brought him in the right way and brought him up, let him run the scout team for a couple of years, maybe you could put him in some packages. Maybe he's like a Taysom Hill or something like that on New Orleans. Maybe you could have done something like that. But when this is a classic example. When you overdraft a player. Okay, the Jets did it this year with Jermaine Johnson too. I had a 5th round grade on. When you overdraft players, they come in, they don't achieve, they're set up for failure, they become bust very quickly, and that's what we're seeing happening with Trey Lance.
Okay, let's move on to another one of your favorite pet subjects. Brace yourself, MTO. Let's take a look at the New York Jets. Jets. Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson. As I will now go back to an earlier comment by MTO. Do the Jets, do they stay with Zach Wilson? Aaron Rodgers, I'm seeing Joe Namath said that he could bring his number 12 out of retirement and wear it if he comes to the Jets for Aaron Rodgers. But do you really think, Saleh was like, we will develop Zach Wilson. Holy moly, give us one quick minute before we rapid fire.
Well, let's put it this way. If Joe Namath gives up his number 12 jersey to Aaron Rodgers, I'm going to file a police report because that's criminal, because Aaron Rodgers doesn't even belong in that jersey. That's a legendary jersey with the Jets, so that's not right. But second of all, the Jets cannot afford Aaron Rodgers. I want everyone in the country to turn up their volume a little bit. Okay, because the Jets are a negative $2 million of the cap space right now in 2023. They say, they can shift some players around, everything. Listen, you got to understand the implication. I wrote an article about this week about dead cap space and stuff like that. Okay, they have 23 different free agents on this team. They have a cap value of $52 million. They got to start bringing some of these players back. The most they could possibly clear in cap space is probably $59 million. Rodgers gets paid like $30 million a year. They have nothing for an offensive line right now. You think Aaron Rodgers wants to play behind that offensive line? No. They have no quality tackles whatsoever on the roster right now. They have 7 offensive linemen under contract, 4 coming off an injury list. No. This is a situation where Rodgers, the New York media is playing this up right now, but Joe Douglas has built a crisis situation in that salary cap for the Jets that doesn't include Aaron Rodgers or any high-priced veteran quarterback whatsoever.
It's going to be something to watch. I think the Jets are going to be one of the top off-season stories, I should say, this year. Rebuilding the offensive line. Do they go with another quarterback?
They can't afford him.
Yeah. I mean, well, Aaron Rodgers is due $60 million too. $60 million. I mean, good grief, for what? 1 year? I mean, come on. This is one messy deal.
And this really quickly, this is the problem with what they got with Zach Wilson. Okay, I wanted to touch on very quickly. And that is that the Jets cannot part ways. They said they're going to develop him hell or high water. The reason they're saying that is because they owe him $9 million in the cap this year. And if they cut him prior to July 1st, okay, or June 1st rather, they would have to owe him another $20 million, or $20 million in dead cap space will come to play, or $15 million post June 1st. Okay, it's not that they're so bent on developing him. Okay, they can't afford the cap hit. That's what between the lines is. That's what's really happening here. They're stuck with Zach Wilson. They're stuck with some of these guys that Joe Douglas has brought in there. It's a bad situation.
Yeah, it's ugly. Okay, we got to shift gears to another quarterback this week. Good grief. Who would have thought Lamar Jackson in Baltimore would be in this situation? I'll tell you what, I do credit MTO on that. Who would have thought that we'd be looking at this with Lamar Jackson? Is he going to stay in Baltimore? I mean, is he somebody the New York Jets with that awful offensive line would stick in the pocket and let him run around and do his Lamar Jackson thing? What's going to happen with Lamar Jackson? I mean, this kid's a former MVP.
Absolutely is. Lamar Jackson would never authorize that trade to go to the Jets with that offensive line. No veteran quarterback in their right mind will play behind the New York Jets offensive line that Joe Douglas has built, or what offensive line, more to the point. Lamar Jackson, his days are over in Baltimore, folks. That's what I'm going to come out and say right now. He's gone. Where he's going to end up, I don't know. The Washington Commanders would be a very interesting fit for him. I think Washington is tired of seeing Baltimore run circles around them. I think Washington is tired of losing fans to Baltimore, and I think bringing Lamar Jackson into FedEx Stadium would be a huge accomplishment and something that could very well happen. As far as Baltimore is concerned, I think we've seen the maturation of Tyler Huntley this season. He had a higher completion percentage than Lamar Jackson in the playoffs, folks. I mean, he looked the part. I say that they go with Huntley, and I wouldn't be a bit surprised if they were the draft like a Malik Cunningham, who I love, who's a very similar type of player and had even better stats than Lamar Jackson did at Louisville, and bring him in behind Huntley. And I don't think Baltimore is going to skip a beat without Jackson, and I think Jackson's going to be moving on.
Wow. Okay, I didn't expect that. They're claiming right now that they're all in on Lamar Jackson, but they certainly haven't proved it. This is a really good point by Clixer. I'm not going to lie. Patrick Mahomes is by far probably the most pound for pound, most talented quarterback in the NFL. He's just nuts. And he was out there on one leg trying to get it done. Lamar, I mean, with so much on the line, really kind of shut it down. Interesting points here, comparing him to Jimmy G, and the way they just keep teams kind of with their nose above water and in the playoffs every year, but never go anywhere. I want to add a name to that, Clixer. Josh Allen. In Buffalo. Something ain't jiving there. And
come on, Stacy. Pull a Stephon Diggs for us and just do something. Throw your hands up.
Yeah, just start waving your hands at him. I don't know. Good kid, but yeah, I got to agree. Diggs is never happy. He's your typical petulant wide receiver. Okay, got to shift gears real quick with just a few minutes left this week. The Chicago Bears and Justin Fields are in a very unique situation there at the top of the draft this year. There's 3 quarterbacks. I'm seeing trades now that the Colts are going to trade with the Bears, go up, get that kid from Kentucky. Oh. Boy, would that be crazy.
Boy, would that be the worst decision that Indianapolis Colts could make.
Some of the stuff is nuts.
I have a 5th round grade on Will Levis.
Okay.
Yeah.
I literally saw a mock draft like that today from I believe it was Pro Football Focus. Can't remember, but absolutely nuts. But the Chicago Bears, are they going to trade that pick? Because there is a guy you're pretty high on that would just be theirs with the turn in of a card. that would anchor a defense. Oh, we got some interesting predictions here from MTO. Okay. Yeah, I'm not big on Will Anderson at all. Not at
No,
all.
me neither.
There's something about Alabama linebackers. Okay, the Chicago Bears, are they going to trade that number one pick?
No, no, they're
No.
not. They're not trading that pick. They're going to take Jalen Carter, number one overall from the University of Georgia. This guy is a Hall of Fame type of talent. This guy is going to be the best defensive tackle in the NFL as a rookie, surefire rookie of the year. This guy is dominant inside. This guy can shoot the gaps. He's going to destroy guards in the National Football League. This is the type of difference maker that if you have a chance, you bring in. This is what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did back when they were able to set the foundation with Warren Sapp, or the Dallas Cowboys in their heyday, what they did with Russell Maryland. When you can get a guy like this, listen, the NFL is about disrupting the pocket, right? The dirty pocket. It's about getting into that pocket. And if you can get a guy who's consistently disruptive and can blow up the pocket 4, 5, 6, 7 times a game, like Jalen Carter did in the 3 games I watched him in 2022, you go and get him. There's no way you trade that pick whatsoever. I don't care if I was a GM, if someone was offering me 5 number ones, I would say I would hang up the phone.
Wow. Okay. Strong words. He does seem like a generational type player on defense.
He's a really good player. You got a chance to get somebody like that, you go get him.
There's going to be some teams that want to package some stuff and come up and get Stroud or Bryce Young. Don't you believe? You don't believe that they're going to
they're going to try.
Look what the Niners did for Trey Lance.
Yeah, they're going to try. They're going to try, but no, you can't do that because, listen, Chicago has their franchise quarterback in Justin Fields. They bring in a guy on the other side of the ball like that. I mean, this is kind of like we saw Jacksonville do this last year. You know, you go and get a couple pieces here and there. Now, I wasn't a big Trayvon Walker fan at all. I said he was a second-round pick. He did struggle. I said he's better at defensive tackle than end. But if you can get that defensive lineman to go along with the quarterback, and then if Chicago could come back somehow and get a guy like a Marvin Mims and put him in the slot like Jacksonville did with Christian Kirk, hey, listen, Chicago's out there flying again. And it's in a pretty weak division, too. They got a chance to make some noise next year. Go get Carter. Don't take any calls. Don't bother with anything else. If I was a GM, I would unplug my phones at the headquarters of the Bears. I wouldn't even take any calls. I would already have the card sent in.
Yeah, but what if one of these teams that want Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud are willing to package a couple picks, move up to 1, and give you their 3rd pick on the contingency that you don't, or the agreement that you don't take Jalen Carter? I don't know. This is going to be an interesting draft that way.
Not me. I wouldn't trust any other teams to do that. And no.
Okay, some great questions coming in from the guys. Clixer, by the way, I completely agree. Sean McDermott poo-pooed the bed in that game, allowing them to go up 14-0. What a mess. But this is kind of interesting. And we've seen this before. I think it's a valid point. The fact that the Colts will be sitting there, they could, maybe a Jalen Carter slides to them if somebody, they're going to be some big names on that board. Then they do the old tankaroo trying to get Caleb Williams, which is always a risky proposition, but certainly one that's doable. And of course, some great draft questions here from the guys too. But we gotta pop in one more subject here in closing, and that is this. Would love to get everybody's opinion. Tom Brady looked like a different guy this year. When he walked off the field, I saw a different guy that I've seen for 20 years, and I was there the night he came in and ruined my Rams in a Super Bowl. Does he return to Tampa next year, Scout? And if not, what should we keep our eye on?
He won't be back in Tampa. Tom Brady will end up with the Las Vegas Raiders.
The Raiders?
That's right, with Josh McDaniels. They're going to reunite. They're going to reunite in the Super Bowl next year is in Las Vegas. So you heard it here first.
Oh, wow.
The Raiders. That's right.
I think Tom Brady's done. I think if he comes back, he's actually prolonging the misery. Yeah. The autumn wind is a pirate.
That's right. That's right.
I love it. So, okay. So what happens to the Bucs? Tom Brady's gone. Basically, he was the glue holding that franchise. Everybody's older. Levante David, you still got some talent there in the linebacking core, but what's going to happen to the Buccaneers?
2 words. Kyle Trask.
Oh, Kyle Trask, Florida.
Kyle Trask, that's right. 2001, my QB3.
Oh, my. MTO is in agreement here.
That's right. Now, check this out, right? Who's the luckiest quarterback in the 2021 draft class? Okay, you in the back with your hand raised. Kyle Trask. Why? Because he's had 2 years to sit and learn from the GOAT, from Tom Brady, and relax and hang out and kind of see the speed of the game and not have the pressure, no expectations. No one's expecting anything from him. Kyle Trask is sitting very, very pretty in Tampa Bay. Remember that name, Kyle Trask, and remember where you heard it.
I liked him a little bit coming out, too.
I liked him a lot. I liked him a lot. I thought for the Gators, he was an orthodox gunslinger, a guy that moved around, was had a heart for the game, was determined to win. I like Trask a lot. Remind me kind of like maybe a Bernie Kosar or something along those lines, kind of an unorthodox quarterback. And he's going to make some noise in Tampa when he takes over.
Yeah, very interesting. Okay, MTO owning up to it.
I appreciate that, MTO.
I am not. You guys think I'm nuts? I'm not completely out on Zach Wilson yet. I want to see a little bit more.
You are nuts. Look at your wall.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And those
Come on, say it. Say
it. Oh, look, we're just 2 weeks away from no longer being the world champion Los Angeles Rams.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I'm looking for it. No more. I will have to hear that.
Oh, man. So Clixer brings up an interesting thing here in closing. I like the Dolphins situation for Brady as well. And we know about the controversy in the offseason with him and Sean Payton and the Dolphins. I think that would be very interesting. I'm just trying to picture Tom Brady with Mike McDaniel. Wouldn't that be an odd mix? And, Brady's going to want to run the show. So, yeah, Stephen Ross connected to University of Michigan. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot going on there. Ross
are playing connected out there for us tonight.
Yeah. Oh, and MTO, some final. I'm trying to get into these rapid thoughts in closing here. MTO sticking to tradition. I love it. Parting shots. It is. It's time for that. I love MTO snuck his in. I don't know what I think of Mike LaFleur yet. I will get back to you on that. You know who I really want is Ben Johnson from the Lions. I would love to bring him on over to the 2 weeks to go world champion Los Angeles Rams. Mike LaFleur, does McVay want to hire another buddy? Interesting parting shot, MTO. Okay, Scout, parting shots this week.
Yeah, everyone's talking about Caleb Williams there a couple minutes ago, tanking for Caleb Williams and Caleb Williams this and Caleb Williams that. Spencer Rattler's my guy. That's my quarterback over Caleb Williams for the 2024 NFL draft. That's my early. I love Spencer Rattler.
Yeah, okay. I know you've been big on Spencer Rattler. My parting shots are this. I think we are living in a very, very special time. I cannot wait to watch Patrick Mahomes duel Joe Burrow. What an absolute special time in football, these young guns. And I think while they're completely almost different types of players, what an incredible group of quarterbacks. We're going to get to see Brock Purdy, the rookie, going up against Jalen Hurts, who was left for dead a couple seasons ago, and
Great.
Mahomes versus Joe Burrow. Show me nothing versus. Okay, yeah, okay. Rattler, Caleb Williams. I see. We got some Rattler fans in the house here with you too.
That's right.
So that's my parting shot. I think Joe Burrow.
That'd be good.
Joe Burrow makes me smile. He's a throwback to guys my age growing up. He reminds me a lot of Joe Montana. He just reminds me of a lot of great, little bit of Dan Fouts. He's just got a little bit of something, Mr. Burrow. So I like the Bengals to return to the Super Bowl. We'll leave predictions next week. We'll get everybody's predictions next week. Everybody listening, you name it. We're all going to pop off next week. So that is it this week, folks, on the Dirty Pocket. You can find the Scout on firstroundmock.com, where he is, as noted, working around the clock, breaking down film on some of the top studs, for the 2023 draft. You can find me at gridironicon.com. Had some recent great interviews. Have one coming up with Fred Bolitnikoff. Maybe you've heard of him. Join us there on
I
gridironicon.com.
have.
And most of all, thank you for following. Clixer, MTO, great to see you on this
Thank you
great
guys
little
for
show.
watching.
We
Yeah.
will see you next week. Got a little off track last week again. Life's crazy, but we'll see you next week. We got to break down predictions for the Super Bowl. Thank everybody for watching. Follow, like, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, all those places. And we will see you. Thank you, MTO, and thank you, Clixer. Be well out there, you guys. We'll see you next week.
And sorry, Samantha, about any negative Cowboys comments.
Cowboys out.